got the cute little guy playing drums on his daddy's head.
Shut him down, shut him down.
Okay, we are at the 2021 SXCS
10 seconds.
Round 7 in Burlington, West Virginia. Beautiful day. Here are the senior C class starting now. That's the 40 plus guys. I'm in the 50 plus guys. Even though I just turned 60, I'm still in that class until next year.
10 seconds.
That was not me. Oh, we're off. Or they're off, I should say. There's Mike in front of me. He got a great start on his new beta. I think I'm now 8th, which is the worst start I've had since racing as a old timer. I just got a new bike, got a 22 XTW 300 TPI, and only had 2 hours on it. Really didn't practice starting. I read somewhere where the starter is a little slower than on car bikes, which I don't think is the case, but for some reason I had in my head it wasn't going to start as quick, so I delayed. So this is my second time doing a voiceover. Trying to make it a little interesting. I do these for my father. He likes to watch them. For anybody watching this that doesn't know what SXCS is, it stands for Sprint Cross Country Series. We have 3 formats. One is roughly an hour-and-a-half race, which is what we're doing here. And the other is what's called a GP race, where we have 2 30-minute races. And then we have the sprint, which is for our class, where we race on 2 tracks, 1 lap, and we race each track 3 times. We don't race against each other like we are here, where we start together. It's a timed event, kind of like a Tour de France time trial. So say every 15 seconds another rider goes off, and you're just tracked by time, and then you just add up all the times of the 6 laps, and whoever has the lowest for that class will win that day. And what got me into this was I was still recovering from my surgery, and didn't have the endurance to ride very long while I was recovering. So the next race was the sprint, so I was able to enjoy the race and not wear myself out with these hour-and-a-half long races. So I believe the guy in front of me is Myron, who I met just before the race on the starting line, and he came in first this race. And if you look, you can see all of us in the same class are pretty much clumped together. So here in the beginning, it's kind of interesting how we're not spread out. It's kind of neat to be able to see everybody, kind of like you're on a buddy group ride. Some of these races include riding on motocross tracks for a little bit and then jump back into the woods. You know, we'll hop over logs, we'll go through streams, which you'll see. So that was me revving my engine, kind of letting the guy know I was next to him, and he waved me on. Kind of a courtesy we do. I'll talk more about that later, because during this race I came across an interesting situation. There's a buddy from the BizDAC group, so he's in the senior class who left the line before we did. I'm pretty sure that's him. So hopefully his commentary is semi-entertaining. I enjoy watching Zach Attack, his videos. He really makes his commentary fun to listen to. He's got a lot of experience doing it. He also is, I think, a pro or semi-pro rider. What's kind of neat watching this as I'm doing the voiceover, I'm seeing more of the countryside. I just saw the stream down there before I got to it while watching the video. But when you're racing, you're looking ahead on your line to try and figure out where to go, where the turn's going to be next, so you can set up your lines. A way for us to know who's in our class is the organizer gives us a little square sticker to put on the back of our helmets, and they're different colors for each class. So our class is a black sticker, but not everybody puts them on, so sometimes it's hard to know if you're trying to pass somebody that's in your class or in a different class. And so what I do is I'll rev my engine if that individual seems a little bit slower than me, to let them know I'm there and I'd like to pass. That is, if they're in a different class. But if they're in my class, I tend not to do that, because I feel when you're racing, you've got to pass to be better than them. Even though you might be faster than them, getting around them takes a lot more effort than just riding faster than them. I'm not really sure what the etiquette is. That's just kind of my etiquette. And you'll see as we get into the race, I'm going to get behind Mike, who's in our class, another gentleman from BizDAC. Oh, BizDAC has something to do with a group that are buds, and they all ride together and race together. So I end up getting behind Mike for quite a while, and you'll see I'm not revving my engine to say, hey, you know, I want to get around you. But you'll see in other instances where the individual is riding slower than me, or if I'm lapping one of the guys in my class, I'll rev my engine, kind of like you're beeping your horn. Well, for folks that don't know much about this sport or particular format, you see these arrows. We're allowed to venture about 25 feet left or right of those signs. So as you saw, the rider that was in front of me went left and I went right. So we're allowed to do that. We don't have to stay on this little single track cow path trail, whatever you want to call it. And that little skidding noise you hear are my tires bouncing and skidding on the terrain. So this is downhill, which is hard to tell in the video. So this section here is a little bit of a track, but not a big one. Maybe it's a kiddie's track. You'll see there's a few little bumps on this. So I think they brought us out onto a little kiddie's track. So here's little 2 bumps, jump over, and then you have some what are called whoops. They're kind of flattened out in the video, but they're enough that if you're going faster over them, you'll catch some air. So now we're slowing down one by one to go through the start-finish line. And you'll see to the left, there's a little board that has me in 4th now. So I passed a couple guys that first lap. So now we're going to go into a little stream bed with some roots and rocks. Nothing too severe. So that was 1 lap, and then what I'm going to do going forward is cut out some of these long boring sections and just put in sections that are where there are riders in front of me, where it's sort of fun to watch a pass or to get passed by the faster guys. There are about 80, 90 guys racing this race in the morning. I think about 20 of them caught up to us and passed us, the really fast young guys. So there are guys from probably, gosh, schoolboy class, I don't know if it's 14, 16, all the way up to, I know a couple guys that are in their 60s. Now I'm moving to a more interesting section where I'm going to catch a guy, I guess, and pass him. Now we're going up a hill. Now we're going down. Now he kind of caught me off guard. He stopped. I thought he was just going to slow down or pull over. And so that was kind of abrupt, but I appreciate him pulling over. Ah, here we go. I come up to Mike. So I was behind Mike for a while. And the Mike that's in front of me, his real name is Eduardo, and that's how he's listed in the Moto Tally scoring system. But he goes by Mike. That's what I call him. So I'm just waiting for a place to pass them. Then I realize there aren't any easy passes. And then you'll see I'll try and be a little more aggressive and pass them. So maybe I'll take a different line here, for example, but it's too short. I missed that line the whole day. I don't know why I didn't see it. I think I was too focused on Mike. So now I kind of slowed down, think he was going to let me go by. I think somebody was just behind me yelling to let me know they were behind them, or they were behind me. But since I was kind of going at it here with Mike, I thought I was going to pass them and then I could worry about them later. But as you can see, I'm getting more aggressive because now I know people are behind me, or at least a person. And it seems like Mike picked it up. And being that this is an hour and a half, actually it was more than that, I don't want to extend too much energy and burn myself out. So I'm just waiting for a reasonable time to pass. without burning up too much energy. Should have taken the other line. That was a bad line that he took, but I still couldn't get around him. See? But now I'm getting a little aggressive, trying to get around him. Because I realize I'm losing time, but at the same time, I'm burning up energy. So these are the things that go through your mind when you're racing, and you're old and you don't have a lot of energy to get through the day. So at some point I said to myself, okay, I'm just going to back off, conserve, and wait for him to hopefully burn out, you know, or fall down, which we do sometimes. But this is what I enjoy about the racing, is getting exercise. But these moments where, you know, you're trying to figure out, you know, the best approach to take to conserve energy, but at the same time go as fast as you can. And for riding for an hour and a half, you have a lot of possibilities. You know, where do you push? Where do you back off? When do you drink? It's like running a marathon versus maybe a sprint. You can ride faster, but you'll burn out, and in the end, you have a slower time. So I've backed off and just decided to cruise at Mike's pace, unless I see a really big opening to pass, which, as you can see, there isn't. If I was a really fast guy, then yeah, this might be an easy pass, but I'm not one of those young bucks. Oh, I stalled. Not sure what happened there. See, heard me stall. Now I'll catch back up. Oh, here comes an interesting section. So we'll be back in flat, grassy terrain. These are some tight branches. I think I caught one of those, not branches, but little trees. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can get Mike here. So I made a little push here. It was nice of the guy on the KTM to let us go by. So I can see Mike pushing it. So I figure, or I'm hoping, he's going to burn out. He's giving me a run. I'm riding really well. Yep, I think that was the same guy as before, if I'm not mistaken. Mike from the master's class. Had a little hiccup there. Not sure what happened. So Mike's trying different lines to get around. If that's Mike from the master's class. Apologize if that's not you. I followed you through the finish line and saw your number and looked you up. So I'm following Mike, thinking he's faster. He passed me. He's going to get past Mike in my class, but that was a longer line. So we didn't accomplish our goal. This is up a hill. Maybe hard to tell, but if you listen to the engine, now we're going down again. No engine. You hear the braking. Back up. So I'll catch back up. Later I figured I'll just hit that road one-handed and take my hand off the throttle. It was hurting too much. Here we go, downhill, and Mike from my class falls. I slowed down a little bit to make sure he was okay, but he got up quick, and now I'm in pursuit of Mike in the master's class, but he was riding well, and I didn't really have to beat him. Not that I could have necessarily, but it didn't matter in my class. Okay, lap number 2. I've moved up to 3rd. And there's still some more interesting passes, I guess, coming up. So I'll jump to those. shortly. Okay, so this, I believe, is Myron, who won our class. So he was revving his engine, letting me know he wanted to get by. So I slowed down to let him pass. And as I was describing earlier, my philosophy was you got to earn the pass. But I don't know if that's, I don't even know if we have, you know, etiquette or rules on that. Talking to some friends, you know, nobody really knows. So, but he ended up beating me by 2 minutes. So he's clearly faster than me. At least, you know, this race he was. So I found that interesting. How I was not doing that to Mike, and he did that to me. So I'm kind of curious what most people think and do. Not that it's a big deal. I mean, we're just out here having a good time. I also think these videos could be fun for folks like Mike and Myron here and anybody else in our class that knows one another. there's Mike from the master's class again. He kept taking that longer line. I'm not sure why.
Thank you. Hey.
Some of that noise you hear is the chain slapping. That's chain noise. Because you leave slack in the chain so that when the swing arm, that's where your wheel attaches to the frame, and it goes up and down, the chain gets more tension as the shock compresses. And the swing arm is parallel to the frame. That last straightaway was probably the fastest section of the track, and just to give you an idea of speed, at least for me, it was about 40 miles an hour. So not a real high speed course with regards to the straightaways. There have been some other courses, like I think it was round 5, got up to, I think it was 50 some. We had longer grass runs like that. And then through the woods, it's not real fast, as you can see. It's fast enough if you go down, you get hurt. Here comes Dan. Dan's in my class. Good guy. Knows everybody. So I'm lapping him. So that's why I'm going to rev my engine. Let him know I'm there. He pulled over.
Thank you, Dan.
Dan's former military, so I really appreciate his service, serving our country.
Tired.
Yeah, I was starting to make some mistakes when I was tired. Yeah, see, I get offline there. I made some other mistakes too. Just didn't have them in the recording. Kind of a boring section, and that tells me to slow down. Otherwise I'll fall and get hurt. A lot of times being fit is faster than having skill. This is an interesting situation here. So I let him know I'm behind him, but oh no, that's a girl, different person. Yeah, she pulled over. That was nice of her. The next guy, I think I come up to, I rev my engine. He speeds up, which is fine, but he was slowing me down. Different class, and it took me a while to get around him. I think the reason I didn't jump to him was he should be coming up soon. Yeah, maybe that's him. I also enjoyed watching him from behind. He stands up a lot when he rides, which is a faster way of riding. Your center of gravity is at your foot pegs instead of at your seat. So I enjoyed watching him as I was riding behind him. But then I was like, okay, I gotta make up some time here. So he looks back, so I'm thinking, okay, he's going to let me go by. So I'm kind of waiting for that when he thinks is a good time to pull over. Because you don't want to pull over and slow yourself down either. So you want to find a good place to pull over where you don't lose a lot of time and let people go by. So I was kind of confused as to what was going on here. So now I'm looking for options to get around him. And then I slip up there. And I catch back up. And at this point, I'm really tired. I was trying to get some water earlier, and I was struggling to get my mouthpiece into underneath my helmet and into my mouth. And so I tried a couple of times, not here, but earlier, and I was like, is it worth it getting the water or keep my speed up? So I had some water earlier than that. I figured, okay, that'll do me. So again, it's how much energy do you use to get around somebody versus waiting them out. So now I'm revving my engine again, saying, hey man, I'd like to get by. But maybe he didn't realize I was revving it to signal him. Not sure. So I need to give him some grace there. But in my mind, I was getting anxious. I wanted to get around. So now I'm definitely letting him know that I want to get around. And he pulls over. So here I'm taking the longer line, and it paid off. Alright, you can see the white flag, which means one more lap. And I'm in third. And this poor lady falls down. You can see her holding her right shoulder. So I slowed down and pointed to her to try and get some help for her. But there's enough people around to see her. So I hope she's okay. Doesn't take much to hurt yourself. So now that I know it's the last lap, I push a little bit harder because I'm really tired. Here comes a buddy, June, from the senior class in front of me. He's a 40-plus guy. So I think that was him revving back at me saying, hey, acknowledging you. At this point, I pretty much didn't have anything exciting left to show, and my battery died. So overall, third place, good day for me.
A lot of fun.